The Loch Ness Monster. It's all a big hoax, right? Well, the tales of sightings started way before you probably think. Scientists and investigators have searched the loch and found things they can't explain. People report sightings to this day, and a whole industry has grown around Nessie, as the monster is affectionately known.
Is she just a product of folklore, an urban legend, a trick of light and shadow? Does a recent fossil finding help prove she may be real? Does a video taken in 2021 show Nessie?
Let's dig into this. Loch Ness is the second deepest loch in Scotland. It's about 23 miles long and 755 feet deep at its deepest point. Eels, trout, sea sturgeon, northern pike, and Arctic char are all native to the loch. Most of us know the story of the Loch Ness Monster from the so-called surgeon's photo of 1934, but the legend goes farther back than that. Way farther, in fact. Legends of something huge in Loch Ness go back about 1,500 years. There are carvings in stone of a strange water creature dated about 500 AD.
The first written account of something strange in Loch Ness comes from the 7th century biography of Saint Columba in 565 AD. He was an Irish priest making his way through Scotland. He went to Loch Ness to confront a beast that had been killing people in the area. When he saw the monster about to attack a man, he ordered it to leave. It supposedly never attacked a man again.
In 1933, a new road was built along the shore of Loch Ness. A report in the Inverness Courier newspaper on May 2nd of that year about a couple seeing a huge creature in the loch, swimming, diving, and surfacing, started the modern tale of the Loch Ness Monster. Not long after, another couple reported seeing the creature on land, crossing the new road, and the story exploded. Reporters descended on Loch Ness from all over Scotland and Britain. A £20,000 reward was offered by a circus to anyone who could capture the creature. The London Daily Mail newspaper hired famous big game hunter Marmaduke Wetherell to find the animal.
And this is where the story takes a turn. After a few days of hunting, Marmaduke Wetherell messaged his employers at the Daily Mail that he had found footprints of something huge that walked on 4 legs. The Daily Mail headline screamed that the monster was real. People began showing up at Loch Ness to see the monster for themselves, turning the whole place into a circus itself, you might say. Floodlights were set up to light up the loch all night, and it was a real party.
Meanwhile, plaster casts of the footprints were made and sent to the Natural History Museum in London, where scientists discovered they were from a hippopotamus. Not only that, all the prints had been made from one hippopotamus foot, probably from a foot used to make an ashtray or umbrella stand, if you can believe that. But the news didn't stop people from believing the story of the monster. In fact, it seemed to make people more determined to find the real Loch Ness Monster for themselves.
The next year, 1934, Robert Wilson, a physician from England, captured the first photo of the creature. It's become known as the surgeon's photo. It showed something with a long neck and small head in the water of the loch. The Daily Mail of London printed the photo, and it became an international sensation. Some experts claimed it was a plesiosaur, a prehistoric mammal extinct for more than 65 million years.
From that time on, Nessie was a big star and big business. Nessie is said to be shy and is presented as an almost huggable, sweet water dinosaur in every souvenir imaginable. And she's kept the tourism trade going for decades. People still flock to Loch Ness for fun, for the beautiful scenery, and to see Nessie for themselves.
Amateur Nessie hunters have kept watch on land and in the loch for years. and professionals have made numerous expeditions too. Throughout the 1960s, British universities have explored the loch, even using sonar several times. The sonar operators always seem to detect something large moving in the water, but no definitive proof could be found.
Then in 1975, the case was cracked wide open, or so everyone thought. An expedition using both sonar and underwater photography caught something that looked huge in the murky water. After the photos were enhanced, you could make out what looked like a huge flipper on some sort of swimming animal. A plesiosaur. It had to be. Everyone declared Nessie was found, but later sonar expeditions could not repeat the 1975 findings. Divers and remote cameras and sonar have all been used. All the latest technologies seem to make their way fairly quickly to the loch, and it seems like there is always just enough found to keep everyone looking, but nothing conclusive.
It wasn't until 1994 that the world learned the original surgeon's photo taken in 1934 was a hoax. Remember Marmaduke Wetherall? The guy the Daily Mail had sent to find Nessie? When the footprints Wetherall took casts of turned out to be from a hippopotamus, the Daily Mail publicly ridiculed Mr. Wetherall, rather than look bad themselves. It seems Wetherall had thought the footprints were real, and may have even been duped himself. And the treatment he had received at the hands of the newspaper that had hired him upset his son-in-law and a few others to the point of wanting revenge. They bought a toy submarine and made a head and neck from a wood putty, and off they went to take photos of their own Loch Ness monster. The photos were sold to, you guessed it, the Daily Mail, and were good enough to fool most of the world for 60 years.
All these studies, finding no concrete evidence, and revelation of hoaxes have done little to put the Loch Ness story to rest. It is said there have been over 4,000 reported sightings, and the sightings are all similar. A large creature with one or two humps on its back emerging from the surface, sometimes with the long neck and small head showing above the waterline. The thing is, many of these reports are from everyday folks with nothing to gain, and sometimes something to lose, by coming forward. Doctors, lawyers, scientists, teachers, fishermen, police officers, even priests, and one Nobel Prize winner. So something must be out there. But what is it? Over the years, theories have included ichthyosaurs, elephants, seals, eels, sturgeon, sharks, squid, and the classic plesiosaur, among others. But no proof.
A study in 2018 conducted by an international group of scientists took over 250 water samples from all parts of Loch Ness for DNA analysis. Over 500 DNA sequences were identified and analyzed, and unfortunately, they didn't show any plesiosaur DNA. But it did show eel DNA. Lots of eel DNA. And a giant eel has been suggested as the true identity of Nessie. Locals find the eel theory silly, but they know there are eels in the loch, and they are sure Nessie isn't an eel.
In 2019, a viral call to storm Loch Ness had over 18,000 people saying they would travel to the area to find Nessie. Almost 40,000 others said they were interested in participating. The idea was copied from a social media-fueled Storm Area 51 call to action, which turned out to be significant but far less popular in reality than it appeared online. The Scottish government issued warnings against a mass search of that size, and it fizzled.
And then, in 2021, two things happened which excited the Nessie community again. A group of outdoor enthusiasts were on a canoe trip which included Loch Ness. A member of the group had been chronicling the trip with drone footage and posted some of his film online. And on this film, is what looks like to be a plesiosaur in the waters of Loch Ness. We'll put a link to this channel in the description so you can have a look for yourself if you're interested. The footage and stills from it are quite interesting and can be found online.
And also in 2021, the largest ichthyosaur skeleton ever found in the UK was discovered at the bottom of a landlocked lagoon in Rutland Water Nature Reserve in England. It was more than 30 feet long. Extinct for more than 90 million years, the ichthyosaur had big eyes, big teeth, and a big body, and resembled dolphins. While the ichthyosaur doesn't fit some of the Nessie sighting reports, it doesn't fit the long neck and small head reports, for instance, the fossil find has raised questions. Lots of ichthyosaur fossils have been found over the years in this area of the world, and this has been a reminder of what Nessie could be, or could have been.
So, it seems every time that there's bad news for Nessie, it's followed by good news for Nessie. One theory or piece of evidence is debunked or disproved, and another comes along. I'd like to think Nessie is real. It's kind of nice to have some mystery.
And as popular British writer G.K. Chesterton once said, "Many a man has been hanged on less evidence than there is for the Loch Ness Monster."
We hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you on the next one.